our timeline is off. And yeah, so as soon as we get the exact timeline, we'll let you know. But I just want to give a heads up to everybody that I think our timeline's off. And I think the CID's timeline, at the very beginning was off. And they had to rearrange it a bit and tell us. And I think they're still off. So, yeah, but we do know this. We do know that Richard is a retaliated whistleblower, uh, continuously, severely retaliated whistleblower, and that it escalated into him being missing and murdered. We believe abducted. We're looking into his abduction. We believe the abduction was under the guise of being arrested and that he was taken um, and uh, uh, tortured, um, murdered, and then dishonored, dismembered, dishonored. So this is a very, very serious accusation. We're not saying it off the cuff. We're at way over 3 years. This is a lot of investigation goes into this accusation, a lot of uh, hard evidence, irregularities, and circumstantial evidence. And, I think we have enough now to be able for a jury to convict in exactly what we're saying. It's very clear. And Richard's case is a breaking case. It's breaking. It's absolutely breaking. Now, how fast will it fall apart? Well, we got some reaction in the last 24 hours that indicate that we are over the target, that they're scared. Who's going to be the first to try to ask for immunity or try to make statements? Well, I guess to rat each other out. Who's going to be the first? I already have this feeling inside me, and I don't know if I'm right, but that Lalani Hart is already starting to rat out people, okay? Because our institutional support is growing. And in order for it to grow, it's not because of me coming on here every day. It's because of hard evidence. It's because of what's going on behind the scenes, right? That's what's uh, driving this institutional support. And so let me go on Facebook to see if you're on there. If I'm on, it looks like I'm on. It looks like everything's working. And so let me go on Facebook to see. Okay. So I'm just coming on to um, this is a journal. This is a journal. We have been made by the CID, by the command, to be the investigators of our son. We take that very, very seriously. And I was going on twice a day. I still kind of go on twice a day because I do a TikTok. And, for over 3 years, and all the work behind the scenes. Just because you might not see Team Find Richard Halliday out there, we are out there. We are out there in Juarez. We're out there in El Paso. We are out there on Fort Bliss. We are out there all over the world, in Germany, in Korea, in Russia. Believe it or not, we have Team Find Richard Halliday in Russia because my parents worked at the embassy there in Moscow, the American embassy there in Moscow. In the adoptions, my mom worked in the adoptions. Um, and we have, of course, in South Africa, we have support, and all over the United States, and of course in Ireland, and in England, of course in Germany, of course in France. We have institutional, of course in Switzerland, we have institutional help. I mean, we have Team Farm Richard Halliday in all of those places. And that's why I should be better at having the translated information. I probably should do that tonight. Burn that midnight or oil a little bit. We're getting late here. But, and because of that huge support, um, behind the scenes, uh, we are getting the traction um, because it is so important for everyone to understand how crucial they are. And I've told this to all of our family and friends. They are so crucial in standing up for Richard, in sharing the information, in writing the letters. It is more crucial than anything else because sure, we have our governments. Sure, they take a lot of taxpayers' money from us to do what we want them to do, and then they don't do what we want them to do. But they have to still be driven, right, to do the right thing. And it's just human nature, right? I mean, that's why I'm a Christian, because of that fallen human nature. To have to be driven to do anything, right? And that's the whole point of being a Christian, is to say, okay, I'm just going to do it from my own free will, the right thing. I'm going to do the right thing from my own free will. Of course, by the power of God. And, that's what's so beautiful about Christianity. It's not about coercion. It is about conversion. Changing that stone heart to a flesh heart and embracing our humanity. Jesus Christ came, and in the Council of Chalcedon, however you want to pronounce it, it states he was very God of very God and very man of very man, which means he was totally human, totally physical, totally human, totally God, totally all-powerful, totally the creator, yet totally human. And, that's really hard for us to totally comprehend why God, the creator, the most powerful, the heavyweight, who gives weight to everything, would want to be human. And for us to embrace our humanity, to change our stone hearts to flesh hearts, I think is such a beautiful, amazing thing. Absolutely amazing and beautiful. And I think that's how we learn how to love truly. And that's why God is very God of very God and very man of very man. That's just my opinion. And so these people that have are not really human. They're cold-blooded. They're cold-blooded murderers. And they're cold-blooded supporters of murderers. And they're cold-blooded supporters of very violent, vile crimes in this case. And the last few days, as this case has been broken, it has been revealed, we've known it for a while, that the same people that are involved in tampering and committing these vile and vulgar crimes in our son's case are the same people, and this is so unusual. This is not something, it is totally unusual. It is the same people that are involved in the cold-blooded case of Patrick Crusius. Okay? I'm not saying that they know Patrick Crusius. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that Felix Valenzuela is the defense attorney for Patrick Crusius. Yet he is connected to the Bliss Avenue properties. Yet he is connected to Leilani Hart. And more, and more. And decided to interfere in our son's case. Why would the Patrick Crusius defense attorney, and this is, I'm not talking about Patrick Crusius. You know, there's videos of him, right? There's videos of the horrible, vile, vulgar events that happened in the Walmart. There's videos. There's forensic evidence. It is a slam dunk that he is guilty. A slam dunk. He was there. He had the gun, the rifle. He had the bullets. He shot the bullets. There's videos. We have his victims. We know. It's slam dunk. Yet, they are at 4 years, and Joe, what's his name? Joe, not Joe the president, Joe, it'll come to me, is on the news. Joe Spencer is on the news. I've listened to him on the news saying they're not, after 4 years, they're not prepared to move forward. This Patrick Crusius has a life sentence, yet they're not prepared. I don't, so this gives us some suspicion because it's a slam dunk. It's just like this, I wrote this down, Reterera. I hope I'm saying his name right. He's no more. Hallelujah. He is no more. They executed him. Was it today? Was it yesterday? It was less than 24 hours ago. They executed him. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay? Because, and let me tell you, a lot of people fought for him. Not me. I fought for the little girl. I fought for the family. In my mind, in my prayers. The last few days when I heard that he was going to be executed, but there was all this stuff behind the scenes going on to try to stay the execution. I was praying, please, Lord, be his judge right now. End it. Over 20 years in prison for, I can't even imagine, kidnapping from a Walmart a little girl and abusing her so badly that she died and he had to try to burn her. I mean, it was horrible. So he's no more, right? I got off on a tangent there. But absolutely, what Patrick Crusius did is filmed, unfortunately, to 4 years. 4 years we have to put up with this, right? To relive this horrible thing. We need to have justice. And they're not ready to go forward, and it's like a slam dunk. Why not? What's going on? And these same people, and the judges are all messed up. There's all these irregularities, right? Because the judges are not on the up and up. Okay? They're not on the up and up in this case. And that's very clear from the articles coming out. Something is going on, and I don't have a law degree, but I do, it's like what I tell the kids. All 4 of our children, I made them play the piano. I did. That was, we homeschooled, and that was their music. And music to me is like a foreign language. It's like a second language, a third language, a fourth language. So I wanted our children to be at least trilingual, right? At least have English, a second language, and music, right? And music. And praise God, um, you know, that, that worked out. We accomplished that. And they all had to practice, 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 practice. And sometimes it didn't sound too good, right? Sometimes it sounded beautiful. And when they missed a note, I don't read music. I don't know music. But I do know how to listen, and I do have some ears for pitch. And I could say, "No, you didn't play that right. Play it over again." "Well, you don't even know music, Mom." uh nope, it's not right. You're missing something. you know Tempo, the notes, something. It doesn't sound right. You have to play it again. And this is my analysis with the judges, what's going on. Of course, our son's case is totally botched. 100%. You don't even have to really listen to the music to know that, because the evidence shows over and over and over again that it's botched. And of course, Jessica Veltri has botched this case totally. Um, uh, after Marlon Soto botched it, right? After Tavita Nusa botched it. And all roads lead to Leilani Hart, of course. It all leads to Leilani Hart. And the Patrick Crusius case is being reinvestigated. Not because there is no chance for Patrick Crusius, okay? They can reinvestigate him and reinvestigate him and reinvestigate. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can tell me that, somehow he can get off. I don't know. Should he? No way. No way. We got video of him. We've got his victims. Oh my gosh. But were his victims taken advantage of by the people around this case? Were the victims taken advantage of by the people around this case? Was the system taken advantage of by the people around this case? And why is it the same people that are around this case that seem to be up to no good, that seem to have a lot of irregularities? I mean, we have information that the medical examiner has some real irregularities. We're trying to get that confirmed. We know that he was not born in the United States. Okay, we know that. My mother was not born in the United States. All right. I understand. Richard was not born in the United States. I understand. This is not picking on anybody. But when you have a certain position like a medical examiner, you have to be, that's in the same boat as a judge. And you have to determine how someone died. And so because of that, you can issue subpoenas, you can issue warrants, and you can also order, hold people in contempt. That's huge. So medical examiners are like judges. And, so to be in that position, just like a general, right, you have to meet certain criterias, because it's such a sensitive such a sensitive job. It's kind of what really I try to alert everybody about with James Hart is why is he in that job in the VA and sitting on the health board deciding by having access to people's sensitive records, healthcare, military records. He has access to that. And he gets to decide what kind of benefit percentage they get in their disabled disability check. You know, and, Lalani was saying that he would coach people in order to get the higher percentage. So, is Lalani 100% disabled? Yes, she admits it in public that she's 100% disabled. Okay? And it is a really clever way of manipulating people, right? Because we have huge suspicion from our team, Find Richard Halliday, there in El Paso. We have some one in the inner circle, and that Amber Chase is working inside of the VA right beside James Hart. They're buddies. And so that is, um, what's going on there? How did that happen? How do you get those jobs? And in order to take care of veterans, you have to be human, right? You have to have empathy. You also have to have a moral compass. You have to be trustworthy. And so this is these judges that are in the Walmart case. Um, they saw this easy case and what was their plans because they're messing things up. And what do I mean by easy case? I mean, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that Patrick Crucius is guilty of what happened there at in Walmart. His part of it. So, but that doesn't mean that that case wasn't used for something else. And what we're saying is that we have evidence, irregularities, and circumstantial evidence that it seems, allegedly, apparently, the Walmart case, being such a slam dunk case, was used to cover up the behind the scenes proceedings in Richard's case. That's what we are, that's where the evidence is pointing. And that is why we didn't say anything for the longest. That is why we contacted the office of the governor, Governor Abbott, and his accounting office, Miss Amy Snoddy, and I think it's Schnoddy. And we asked for, requested an open records for both the Walmart case, the Patrick Crucius case, and also Richard Halliday. Okay? That's why we did that. Because the information that we were given is that they were using those monies to do behind the scenes proceedings for Richard. And we'd like to know. And and we're getting it that it's millions and millions of dollars, more than what was spent on the Patrick Crucius case. Because Patrick Crucius, you have the forensics, you have him, you have the weapon, you have all of that. In Richard's case, you don't have that. He's missing murdered, code red, right? He's missing murdered. And we have these autopsies, we have this evidence that they found his remains. Um, and the actions of the law enforcement agencies and the command in Richard's case revealed and exposed that they already had Richard, that they were already looking for his remains, being that he was dismembered. And, or could be that they were looking for anything left behind as far as evidence. And all of it revealed that they already had his remains. And so I put that out there. And they never acted like he walked away. Never. Okay? Never acted like they were trying to get the media to portray this case, and how they got the media to portray this case. And so, and how did they do that? They use Danae Katzen. They use Leilani Hart. And why can I say that they use Danae Katzen and Leilani Hart? They have the same MO. They have the same methods. They have the same standard operating procedures. And they have the same people behind them. It's the same people. Okay? The same Felix Valenzuela. It seems to us that his signature is all over our son's case. Why is Felix Valenzuela's signature on our case? And what do I mean by signature? Yes, thank you. What do I mean by signature? I mean his standard operating procedures. And what do I mean by that? Fabricating evidence, fabricating accusations, allegations, fabricating or intimidating witnesses, interfering with cases. This, and to use Leilani Hart over and over again is interfering and false allegations and harassment and causing chaos wherever she goes, which is constant interfering in people's lives. And so, of course, in this case, but I think she already is, she's already, I think, because of the way the word is that's coming to us about the institutional help, is that that institutional support, that she's already selling them out. I think she already sold Dallas out. Because they're facing what Reterera just faced in the last 24 hours. Richard is the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. You have the chief of security of Fort Bliss, the director of emergency services, saying that Richard is like Vanessa. Okay? That Richard's case is like Vanessa's case. And yeah, this is not just anybody, right? This is not just anybody. This is somebody that has access, just like the FBI man who is employed by the FBI, whose son-in-law is a lieutenant colonel in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, right? They have access to information, just like our key witness has access to information. This is not one witness. We have multiple witnesses. Tavita Nusa himself, Jay Paulin himself, David Park himself, and these are statements against their own interests. They have made statements against their own interests, or against interests of whatever they were trying to protect. And it's the same thing with Major General Clem Coward. It's the same thing with Major General Eisenhower. Major General Eisenhower got into this thinking, easy peasy lemon squeezy, I'm going to get my 3rd star, right? Then he came across Leilani. He had to go along with Leilani. They made him collude with Leilani Hart. Sean Bernabe made him collude with Leilani Hart. McConville made him collude with Leilani Hart. And Leilani Hart is an unreliable source. She's a poison pill. She is a destroyer of whoever comes near her. And, she lies to law enforcement authorities. She false reports to Park University, and Park University colludes with her, right? Doesn't report her. Matter of fact, one of the teachers there, professors there at Park University, was fired under false allegations. The regional director decided even though he won against Leilani Hart's false allegations, but he thought, heck no, I rather work in a much less job and see what else I can find than to stay at Park University, because they are colluding with Leilani Hart, an unreliable source, a poison pill, a pollution pill. She's a pollution pill. She pollutes, right? She pollutes justice. She pollutes our agencies. She pollutes our institutions. I mean, she polluted Hawaii, where she was stationed as a soldier. And she's a convicted criminal. And what happened? Who does she know that she's getting so much protection? And, does it have to do with her sex cult stuff that she's got these, I don't know. I do not know. I know that she's involved in these sex cult things. I do know that Dallas Hart was coming over to her house looking for child porn that she admitted in a criminal complaint affidavit that was notarized, that the notary confirmed to me that he notarized that on July 22nd, 2020. That this criminal complaint by Leilani Hart was accepted by the CID and the FBI, and she is confessing to being in possession of child porn. She is confessing that her family that was running Heart's Child Care. Who is Heart's Child Care? I always thought it was Leilani Hart's Child Care. Is it James Hart Child Care? Is it Dallas Hart's Child Care? Whose child care business is this Hart's Child Care? Because when you're being accused of incest, when you're being accused of sexually assaulting a 7-year-old, and you know in Leilani Hart's master bedroom by multiple members of the family, where is the oversight of Hart's Child Care? Because these accusations are not just from July 22nd, 2020, okay? We have the case number for that criminal complaint because it was accepted by the FBI. We have that case number. So, but these accusations have been going on. And yeah, let me tell you this. The 28th of November 2023 is a divorce case because of this lifestyle, right? Because of this pollution pill, right? It has messed up the family. And now they are in divorce court. And 28 November 2023, it is a public hearing. We will be watching that, trying to get information that will help us find out the whereabouts of our son. Because from the information that we're getting from the CPS complaints that Richard made, from the criminal complaints that Richard made, the Harts are right there on top. They are prime suspects. And Leilani Hart has so much said so because of the code red, right? And so is Thomas Kane. And Thomas Kane and Leilani Hart were very, very close. And so we'll be looking at this closely. The 28th of November 2023, the divorce. There was some divorce proceedings today, and the 28th of November. That's public information. So because everything, Felix Valenzuela leads to Leilani Hart. Thomas Kane leads to Leilani Hart. James Hart leads to Leilani Hart. Dallas Hart leads to Leilani Hart. 3705 Bliss Avenue leads to Leilani Hart. 2905 Bliss Avenue leads to Danae Katzen, which leads to Leilani Hart. And it also leads to Belen Rocha, which leads to Dallas Hart, which leads to Leilani Hart. And, it's like, it just leaves you speechless because we have heard that her arrest is imminent because of, more charges, more criminal charges. And, she already has been caught, committing assault at her church. I don't know why Major General Eisenhower I think he's been ordered to collude with an unreliable source. And Danae and Leilani are cut from the same cloth because they go to the media. And who is talking to the media for them to look away, like Major General Eisenhower, to look away at their unreliable source credentials, right? I mean, they are, convicted criminals, and they are have a history of lying to so many people, including law enforcement authorities, and manipulating. But uh, the authorities, the law enforcement authorities and the command wanted this to happen, which is a violation of the law because it's interfering in our son's investigation, in our son's case. It's tampering with witnesses. And then you have the House with Yolanda, the mother of Lydia, Yolanda um, Garcia Ortega, being connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia of the Walmart case. And, so um, is Leilani Hart behind the Walmart case? Does she have a participation in the Walmart case too? Um, I don't know. All I know is that Felix Valenzuela um, is definitely connected to both cases. And there seems to be a connection then with the CID, with the IG, with the Director of Emergency Services, and, you know, and they're just profiting off of criminality. And these houses on Bliss Avenue, and I don't know about Van Buren, but it seems that these houses on Bliss Avenue were purchased because taxes couldn't be paid on them or whatever on by William Beaumont Army Medical Center in regards to being mortuary affairs annexes. Why is that? And you know, and then we have these irregularities with Ruscone Ortiz, the medical examiner, and is Eddie Rocha is Leilani Hart working with Ortiz? I mean, because all roads lead to Leilani Hart. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know. Um, but Eddie Rocha could absolutely let us know. Lydia could absolutely let us know. I called Lydia up. I talked to Lydia. Um, she knows how to get in touch with us. Uh, it seems like her family has a long history of funeral experiences and in that business, the funeral business experiences. So yeah, she could absolutely let us know what's going on there. And Leilani Hart, see, it leads to Major General Clem Coward. They're absolutely all the everything. It's like the hub is Leilani Hart. And, all of these people are. So when she was saying that she's controlling CID, she's controlling the law enforcement on Fort Bliss, um, I don't think she was lying. I don't think she was lying, even though she's known to lie. But people make statements against their own interests. And, especially if they're bragging about something. Like FBI man. So, how is this case breaking? Well, it's breaking with the DA. Uh, Things happened around Yvonne Rosales that they did not want to happen, and they took her down. I, you know, I just know that this Bill Hicks DA that's not elected, I just know he's up to no good. I don't know anything about Yvonne Rosales, but I do know that Bill Hicks, who they replaced her with, because she's just not doing the right thing, replaced her with someone that's really not doing the right thing. I mean, if he can't even identify crime or document the crime, then how can he prosecute the crime, right? I mean, he really can't identify crime. I believe that he's committing crimes. So, and this is in Team Fine Richard Halliday's case, right? Absolutely, there's been so many crimes. He should be able to identify them easily. If I can identify them easily, he should identify them easily. And then he can document those crimes. And then he can prosecute those crimes. And that's what his job is. So why hasn't he had Leilani Hart arrested? I mean, the crimes are amazing. So many, so many. But he can't even identify crime. And I don't think that Thomas Kane can either. Um, eh, it's it's like he can identify it, but only when it suits his needs, right? And before he left, he absolutely wrote that the JAG was working outside of the law, meaning they can't even identify crime, document crime, and prosecute crime. So, what are we to do? Are we to give up? Throw our hands up? Throw our towel in? That's what they're depending on. That's what they're depending on. These criminals, they depend on us getting so frustrated, having no hope, and thinking that we can just throw our arms up and forget about it and just let it all happen and let them get away with it. And they're getting away with using millions and millions of dollars of taxpayers' money. This theft is not just about taking the life of Richard, and that's not a just, right? That's huge. But there's more, and it affects every person. And we cannot just throw our hands up in disgust and frustration um, when things are not going easy for us. Am I to ride to heaven on flowery beds of ease while others have fought and bled and died in bloody seas? You know, this takes a lot of work because the crimes are really big and they're intricate, they're interwoven, and they're interwoven even under something simple that should have been open and closed, like Patrick Crucia's case. They meddled with. They meddled with it. Okay, and and it hurts our society. It hurts Fort Bliss. It hurts El Paso because they meddled with a very open and closed case. Horrible case, vile and vulgar case. And yet it's very easy to see that Leilani Hart is also a convicted criminal and she's doing harm to society, and yet she's not arrested yet. But Richard, who was whistleblowing, who wanted to help the children, help the young mother, stop the uh, weapons smuggling of American taxpayers' money, stop the narcotics trafficking, stop this crime circuit, right? That was there. Um, he gets retaliated against and severely, and it escalates to him being arrested. That's what we are getting. We're getting that he was arrested because, he was CID. Richard was with those CID people. He wanted to be CID. He spent his whole young adult life, young adult teen, preteen, watching. We were just watching Chuck, some episodes of Chuck because Richard loved Chuck. Anything with law enforcement, investigation, that was Richard. That's what his love was. That's what he wanted to do in life. He absolutely, and we have multiple times, contacted Park University. They could clear all this up, but silence is consent. He was absolutely, we know that he was taking classes there, and absolutely a CID intern. Absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind that Dallas Hart was Richard's platoon leader. Because why would Leilani Hart go to this trouble unless Dallas Hart was Richard's platoon leader, implicated in Richard's complaints? Complaints that I believe is the filming of assaults on children. Okay, that's what I believe Richard was reporting about Dallas, and I think more. I think more. Um, so because we know that Dallas was going to his mom's house, rushing to try to get his hands on the child porn so he could hide it. Um, yeah. The the big thing here is that there is a connection between these two cases. And if things are going on behind the scenes, proceedings behind the scenes, and they are covering it up with the Patrick Crucius case, that's absolute crime. And if there is irregularities with the judges, if there's irregularities with the medical examiner, if there's irregularities with the DA, all of those things, and all of those things have irregularities. That's what you would have to have in order to carry this out. You would have to have a criminal consent from the DA, a criminal consent from the judges, a criminal consent from the medical examiner, since a medical examiner is like a judge. And to not identify crime, to not document the crime, to not prosecute the crime, or should I say crimes. So it's that I'm just looking at my notes here, making sure that I've covered everything for today. We are working on the timeline. We did send a letter today to the Board of Regents for UTEP, for the University of Texas El Paso. That is a very important open records request that we've been working on, open records requests of monies, open records requests of conversations, and so just say a prayer that all that will go through. Also, this soldier, that is an active duty Fort Bliss soldier that has requested a congressional inquiry, we put forth his petition again, the petition that we put together in support of him and the congressional inquiry. Please sign that. If you've signed it, thank you so much. And don't stop there. Start a campaign to get others to sign that. It is so important to drive our elected officials to do their duty. Absolutely. And so, coming on to this live stream, that is my number one message: is you are the most crucial aspect of getting justice for Richard. It is your shares, your getting out there, at your meetings, at your clubs, at your gatherings, and talking about Richard Halliday, talking about Fort Bliss, talking about what is going on in our military right now. This is how you drive those that you might not think are any good, right? That you might think are up to no good. But you can drive them, and I'm thinking about Veronica Escobar here, but you can drive them to do the right thing. And she has to put forth this congressional inquiry. She might not like it, but this is her job. And we need to drive these people to do their job. So, yeah, if you have any questions, and I see that there is some, you know, uh, doubts or whatever, but, you know, look how far we've got. I just go back to some of the very early live streams. I mean, look how far that we have gotten as far as exposing the truth. It is huge. And I don't know why God picked Richard to be a hero. I don't know why. But he is. He is. And he's a hero. He stood up. God gave him that strength to stand up. And how he did it, it could have been a messy way that he stood up. I don't know. But he stood his ground. And he made those complaints. And it looks very beautiful to me. Very beautiful, because can you imagine going through that setup of the DUI, and then all the retaliation, the constant retaliation, the bullying? Who knows what they did to him? Did they sexually harass him? We know that they harassed him because we have screenshots of that. So, and he stood his ground. So, could he have apologized to them, begged for mercy when he feared for his life? I believe so. I don't know. When you're 20 years old, just 21 years old, you don't want to die. Yeah. He's a real hero. And whether people like it or not, he is. And this case is breaking open. They are reinvestigating these judges. They are reinvestigating the DA, the whole situation with the DA. They are investigating the situation with the medical examiner. And there's more. And there's more. So we put in our complaints about Special Agent Veltri, which is, you know, whatever, it is huge red flags. You can say whatever you want, but those are huge red flags of Richard's code red murder. Huge. And they're trying to cover it up. It's obvious. It's so obvious. Um, and then right after we submitted, well, not right after, but a few hours later, we did get a message saying that she finished the summary. Well, we are just, but we can't get to it yet. She didn't send it to us. It's um yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. So, but yes, Lalani Hart is very close to being arrested. Danae Katzen should be arrested. I think she was arrested, but who knows? Um, and many, many more. And we have absolute legal foundation to say that so many need to be arrested. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. Thank you, Francis Valencia. Thank you. You can see it on Jim's website. Okay. Jim's website. Okay. Um, but thank you so much for those comments. And, we just are very grateful for all of you. And it looks like the TikTok is doing really well. Um, we're gaining momentum on TikTok. And I know that there's, these people that think about shadow banning and all of that, and that I've been told I'm so shadow banned because of the amount of people that I have. And, it only takes a few of us, okay, to drive them. A few very courageous people. And it's easier when we have a lot, right? It's easier when we have a lot of people. Um, and it's faster. It's faster when we have a lot of people. Uh, but, I've never, um, my goal is to just get on here, document our day to day information that we have, and talk it through, work it out, work it through, and gain knowledge so that we can piece this all together, all these little morsels, and we have. And there is definitely a criminal ring there on Fort Bliss and into El Paso that is dealing in human trafficking, uh, the child pornography, the narcotics trafficking, weapons smuggling, um, insurance fraud. Yes, insurance fraud. And I think the dishonoring of remains, the dishonoring of remains that somehow must be tied to the insurance fraud. And I also believe that it could be that they are selling body parts. Um, and that, the collusion in all of this, and the horror in all of this, um, you cannot put it past them. You cannot say, no, I can't entertain that. It's just so far fetched, when they have everything laid out to do it. The tactical move storage units, the connections with the mortuary affairs, the connections with the planes, the connections to the pilots, the connections to the properties, the connection to the people who knows what to that have connections over in Juarez with funerals and uh, medical examiners over in Juarez. You know, it just, the evidence is pointing to the child porn. The evidence is pointing that Leilani Hart is a convicted criminal and an unreliable source. The evidence is pointing that Danae is an unreliable source and connected to Felix Valenzuela, right? And the evidence is pointing that they are doing all these sorts of terrible crimes. And then you have the manipulation of judges. And we heard from the body language reader that in the rap world, they're absolutely admitting that they will change policies and politics in order to protect who they want, who they have. And that's not how the law is supposed to work. That's not how the Constitution is supposed to work. You know, it's supposed to be Lady Liberty is blindfolded. She cannot see. It's not like, okay, that's the head of the gang, so I better change the policy and the law to suit their needs so that they can go on and continue being a criminal. So the evidence is pointing that Richard was murdered. The evidence is pointing that there is crime, real crime that he was reporting that is involving leadership in key positions. So a lot of people need to be arrested. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. God bless you. And please sign the petition. Please have others sign the petition. And I will be back tomorrow.